How you going, guys? Welcome back to Tempus TV. It is a gloomy, rainy day here in Pattaya. Honestly, it's nice to get a little break from the heat. If you watch the older videos, I was always complaining that it rained every day. Now that it's been hot, it's kind of nice. But today we're talking about 6 essential things that you need to do as soon as you land, if maybe not before you even come to Thailand for a few of them. 6 essential things that you need to handle as soon as you get here. Let's go. Okay, so you've made the decision. You're coming to Thailand. Finally, you said, you know what, to hell with it, I'm going. Whether it be for vacation, whether you're coming here long term, these things are gonna actually apply to everybody. And most of them are things you need to handle as soon as you get here. Although there might be a couple that you can handle before you get here that might make your life a little bit easier. Let's get right into it. Okay, so first things first, this is one that actually might apply before you even get on your way to Thailand, and that's which airport you're gonna fly into. Assuming you're coming from another country, you are most likely gonna fly into Bangkok. There are 2 major airports in Bangkok, Suvarnabhumi and Don Mang. I'm sure I'm saying those wrong, but more than likely, if you're flying international, you're gonna fly into Suvarnabhumi. Don Mang has more domestic flights, but there are some international flights that come there, especially if you're coming from Eastern Europe, India, places like that. But the biggest thing you're gonna need to realize is the differences between these 2 airports. Suvarnabhumi is the bigger airport, so there's more things there. There's more accessibility. There's more things like showers. There's more currency exchanges. There's more shops for food and things like that if you wanna get something to eat before you go. But the first thing you need to figure out is where you wanna fly into. Suvarnabhumi also has a better access to getting to where you're going, assuming your hotel is in Bangkok, just because it's more centrally located. Don Mang is a little farther north, about 45 minutes to an hour from actual central Bangkok. So that's the first place you need to figure out where you want to fly into. Okay, so you figured out where you want to fly into, and the first thing you do when you need to land is going to be currency exchange. So obviously, if you've ever traveled before, you know the currency exchange rates in the airport are usually the worst you can find because of just necessity. But it is one of those things that you should get some pocket money before you leave the airport in Bangkok. I recommend about maybe $100. That's probably gonna be more than enough, but it's better to have more than not enough. Make sure you grab that so you can pay for taxis. And one more thing that you're gonna need to grab as soon as you're getting out and about. So one of the first things that I do recommend as soon as you land is acquiring a SIM card. Now there are a few companies that will send you a SIM card to your home country so you can have one before you even land. But if you can't get that figured out, not to worry, you can grab one as soon as you land. They are available in the airport, but as with the currency exchanges, they are at a premium there. They tend to be more expensive, but SIM cards are available all over Bangkok. I recommend when you hop in your taxi or maybe when you get on the train or whatever, that you hit up a 7-Eleven. 7-Elevens are almost every corner in Thailand, and you can buy a SIM card there. Just make sure you have your passport with you because you will need to register the SIM card to your name when you get it. But that's first things first. Land, get your phone working. That way you have access to maps, and that way you can get set up for a couple other things that we're going to talk about in the video. So now that you've got some money, you've exchanged a little bit of currency, next thing you need to figure out is how you're actually gonna get to your hotel, assuming you're staying in Bangkok. If you're coming to Pattaya or a place like that, I recommend hiring a taxi service before you even land. You send them your terminal, your flight number, everything like that. They'll tell you where to go, they'll pick you up, and they'll send you down here for a fixed rate. If you catch a taxi from the airport, just like the first 2 things we talked about, they are gonna be at a premium. Thailand is notorious for taxi drivers not turning on meters and things like that. If it's your first time, you will definitely get got. So I recommend, especially if you're at Suvarnabhumi, there is a train you can take from the airport. It will connect you to the main lines in the city, so you can hop on there, head to your hotel. If you do want to hire a taxi, just do your best to make sure when you get in, they turn the meter on, or discuss a price before you even go. But I do recommend hopping on the train. It's an easier route if you're staying in Bangkok. Also, if you're coming to Pattaya and you don't want to hire a taxi service, there is a bus service that drives to Pattaya, and it's much, much cheaper. The only thing, obviously, since the bus, they only run at certain times a day. If you show up in the middle of the night on a red eye, this probably won't be an option, but it's very easy to look up. Just go to the Suvarnabhumi website, and they have listings on there of all the buses that go to Pattaya. And from last time I think I took it, it was only 45 baht, so it's very cheap. A taxi from the airport to Pattaya will run you anywhere from 1,200 baht to 1,500. I've even heard of people paying 1,900. This really just depends on the demand, but if you're gonna do that, don't get your taxi out front, hire a taxi service before you arrive. That's my number 1 tip. Okay, so you figured out your ride, you got a little bit of pocket money, you got your SIM card. The next thing you wanna do is download a few apps that are gonna make your life much easier in Thailand. Number 1, Google Maps. So Google Maps is very reliable in Thailand, especially in Bangkok. It's really good, and it's really good for the trains in Bangkok as well. Number 2 is gonna be Google Translate. This one's pretty straightforward. Unless you're fluent in Thai, you're gonna have to ask some questions or find a way, or maybe even speak to your receptionist at your hotel. Google Translate is a great way to do that. Everybody here knows how to use it. My biggest feature that I love about Google Translate is anytime you see a sign or maybe a menu or anything that's not in English, you can actually just hold your phone up to it or take a picture and it will translate roughly everything to English for you, which will make it much easier. Now, once you've got those two, you wanna go ahead and download the Grab or Bolt app. Essentially, these are the Ubers of Thailand. Bolt is the cheaper out of the two when it comes to taxis. Most of the time, even though they're pretty close, it's not gonna be substantially cheaper. But the cool thing about Grab is it also works as like Uber Eats. So say you're at your hotel or something, you forgot your toothpaste, you're not sure where to go, or you're super jet lagged, you don't necessarily wanna go out to eat. You can also order food on there and they will bring it right to your doorstep. So now you've got your ride to hotel, you've got your SIM card, you've got your phone, you've exchanged a little bit of money, you've made it. You've got all the apps to make your life a little bit easier. At this point, I would recommend hopping on Google, finding a good currency exchange. You wanna avoid using your debit card if possible. There are a few places here where it's not really safe to use your debit card. I do have some friends and stuff who've gotten pictures taken of their cards and stuff and have gotten scammed. Find a currency exchange. Generally, it's gonna be better to carry cash. Even if you're hitting the ATM, there's gonna be a lot of fees and stuff. So if you do wanna do that, if you don't wanna carry a ton of cash and just kind of go as you please with your card, I recommend taking out bigger amounts so you miss out on a lot of those fees. So now that you've got all that squared away, if you're staying in Bangkok, obviously it's time to go explore a little bit. If you're gonna travel around Bangkok, you don't have a bike or anything like that, which you probably don't if you're just visiting, I recommend taking the train everywhere you go. When you go to book your hotel and everything, make sure you're close to one of the main train stations. This will make your life amazingly easier. I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, I'd just rather take a taxi. The only thing about the taxis is it might be cheap, but if you don't know, the Bangkok traffic is insane. Last time I was there, I was going to my hotel. I was only about 3 kilometers away. So I was like, okay, well, another 10, 15 minutes maybe. Took me 4 hours to go 3 kilometers. So take the train. And when you do take the train, if this is something you're gonna do, go ahead and buy you a prepaid card from the station. It will make your life much easier. Instead of having to pay, sometimes the machines aren't working and you gotta go stand in a queue to get your ticket. You've got your card loaded up and you can just tap it and go right in and hop on and get to where you need to go. All right, guys, so those are my 6 essential tips of things that you must do as soon as you land in Thailand. These are all things that I wouldn't recommend putting off. A lot of them you can't really get around. When I personally showed up, I waited to download apps, I waited to get my SIM card, and it ended up being a bit of a nightmare. So just go ahead, get ahead of the curve. If you can handle any of these before you leave your home country, I definitely recommend doing that. As always, guys, thank you so much for tuning into Tempus TV. If you would like to see more and learn more from Thailand, feel free to just go down, click on that subscribe button. You'll get updated every time I upload a new video. There's no weird emails or anything like that. You can unsubscribe at any time. I upload daily content and I do live streams twice a week as well. If you'd like to support the channel, best way to do that, drop a comment, share the video with a friend. And as always, I hope you guys have a great day. We'll catch you in the next one.